I'm delighted to get a chance to introduce you, and thank you very much for your thoughts.
Well, thank you, and I'm glad to know that we have the #1 gift store in America. I didn't know that. Anyway, I'm glad to speak today. I'm usually not political because I was involved in business here and I'm in so many different community events that I never did want to alienate any politicians. However, I'm so in support of Kathy and Jef that I decided to step outside my resolve on that and to speak up. But before I do that, I want to give you just a little bit of background on our family. The Parsons family has been in Duluth for almost 200 years. Evan Howell was the first known white settler that came here in 1821, and he was my great-great-grandfather. In fact, the only road when he came here was Peachtree Road, and he got permission to build a road across his land to go to Lawrenceville. And the road he built, where it crossed Peachtree Road, that area became known as Howell's Crossroads, and it remained that for almost 40 years. And then, though, in 1871, with the coming of the railroad, the people in Howell's Crossroads decided they needed a new name. And so they invited the grandson of Evan Howell, whose name was also Evan Howell, to the dedication of the depot and to give Howell's Crossroads a new name. Well, as you've probably figured out, that name was Duluth. And we love it, even if the people in Norcross call it Duluth. But the Howells, anyway, the Howells went on, they were very, very community-minded in the town and did all sorts of things. In fact, the first church in Duluth was started in one of the Howell homes, and that was the Methodist church, I'm glad to say. And then the Howells, though, eventually moved on. Most of them settled in Atlanta or other places, and they became very prominent in other fields. In fact, they started the Atlanta Constitution, and the Howell family owned and operated the Atlanta Constitution for 75 years. In fact, there are a lot of roads in Atlanta named for the Howells. Howell Mill Road, Hugh Howell Highway, and there's even a room at the Atlanta History Center devoted to the Howells. Now, we're the only descendants, the Parsons are the only descendants of the Howells that still live in this area. And I have to admit that we haven't done quite as well as they did financially. However, we have tried to carry on what the Howells started of being active in the community and giving back all the time to the community. In fact, there's one way we definitely followed him. Evan Howell was the first merchant in Duluth. We certainly feel that. We had, my mother and father opened a store in downtown Duluth in 1925, and then going in business with her family. And so in Parsons, we still have, well, at one time we had 7 Parsons stores. Now we still have 3 Parsons stores in Duluth and Cumming and Alpharetta. And next year we'll be holding our 135th anniversary of a continuing family business. I'm very proud of that. And also my parents followed the lead of Evan Howell by being very involved in the community. They were very instrumental in the beginnings of John Glancy Hospital. I grew up hearing all about John Glancy and how wonderful that was. And then they were very active in their church, and they helped the store was just groceries and dry goods and hardware, and helped so many farmers. I don't know how many have told me how much they helped them to get through the Depression. Now, they had 3 daughters, Ann and Margaret and I, and we all said we'd never be in the family business, and all of us worked at the store, and all of our spouses. And the only way we could ever get any time off was to have a baby. And we only got 6 weeks at that time, but the 3 of us had 14 children, which was, but let me tell you, that's a high price to pay for a vacation. But anyway, I tell you all this to let you know that our roots do go deep in this area. And we care as much as you do about being represented by somebody good, because we're I love Duluth better than anything in the world. All of us are dedicated to Duluth. Now, when Kathy first brought Jef around, I immediately liked him. And I love Kathy like a daughter, I really do. But I'm still amazed that she had enough sense to marry somebody as smart and sensible and involved as Jef is. That was a good move, Kathy. But through the years, I have learned to love and respect Jef more and more. He was better to my parents than any of us have ever been. He took them out to eat at least once a week for years and years and years, and was there for them any time. In fact, he was right there for them until the very end of their lives. And also, Jef is very community-minded, which is real important to me. He was, one thing, he worked with Duluth Fall Festival and was chairman twice. And he made so many changes that have just turned out to be so good. He's the one that said that we should be a nonprofit, and at the time I didn't understand that, but boy, and he walked us through it and got us to be a nonprofit. And he also showed me some ways to raise money. And any of y'all, all of our profits go back into downtown Duluth. And so that was, if you go to downtown Duluth, you'll know that all of that has been very worthwhile. And also Jef has been he's been supportive to me of all the things I've gotten involved in, and that's a good bit. But he, one thing he also did was, I'm with the Gwinnett Hospital Foundation, and Jef has been a member of the GMC Foundation for years. In fact, he was head of the Friends of the Foundation for many years and brought about some really good improvements in that. And so he's meant so much to the hospital too. And in fact, in all the years that I have been watching Jef, he has never let me down, in spite of my increasingly high expectations of him. I've never been disappointed. And I can assure you that I speak for all the Parsons family in saying that Jef would be a great congressman or anything else that he wanted to do, that he's ever aspired to. He's the type of person that we need to represent us. And so I would urge you to do anything that you can do to help him. And your showing up here today shows that you are. And we as a family really, really appreciate that. So good luck, Jef. Y'all get out and vote for Jef.